Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so here we are. Sheep Pig, chapter 6, Good Pig. Okay. The very next morning, Farmer Hoggett decided that he would see if the pig would like to come. When he went round the sheep with Fly, when he went round the sheep with Fly. I'm daft, he thought, grinning to himself. He did not tell his wife. Seeing him walk down the yard, crook in hand, and hearing him call Fly, Babe was about to settle down for an after-breakfast nap, when to his surprise he heard the farmer's voice again. "Come, pig," said Farmer Hoggett, and to his surprise the pig came. "I expect it's because of what you did yesterday," said Fly proudly, as they walked together up the hill. "The boss must be very pleased with you, dear. You can watch me working." When they reached the lower gate, Farmer Hoggett opened it and left it open. "He's going to bring them down to the home paddock away from the lane," said Fly quickly. "You be quiet and keep out of the way." And she went to sit, waiting by the farmer's right side. "Come, boy," he said, and Fly ran left up the slope as the sheep began to bunch over above her. Once behind them, she addressed them in the usual way, that is to say sharply. "Move, fools," she snapped. "Down the hill. If you don't know which way down is, if you know which way down is." But to her surprise, they did not obey. Instead, they turned to face her, and some even stamped and shook their heads at her, while a great chorus of bleating began. To Fly, sheep talk was just so much rubbish, to which she had never paid any attention. But Babe, listening below, could hear clearly what was being said, and although the principal cry was the usual one, there was other voices saying other things. The contrast between the politeness with which they had been treated by yesterday's rescuer and the everlasting rudeness to which they were subject by this or any wolf brought mutinous thoughts into woolly heads, and words of defiance rang out. "You've got no manners! Why can't you ask nicely? Treat us like muck, you do," they cried, and one hoarse voice, which the pig recognized, came loudly. "We don't want you, Wolf. We want Babe." Whereupon they all took it up. "We want Babe," they bleated. "Babe, Babe, Babe." Those behind pushed at those in front, so they actually edged a pace or two nearer the dog. For a moment it seemed to Babe that Fly was not going to be able to move them, that she was lost. She would lose this particular battle of wills. But he had not reckoned with her years of experience. Suddenly, quick as a flash, she drove in on them with a growl, and with a twisting leap sprang for the nose of the foremost animal. Babe heard the clack of her teeth, and the ewe fell over backwards in fright, a fright which immediately ran through all. Defiant no longer, the flock poured down the hill, Fly snapping furiously at the heels, and surged wildly through the gate. "No manners! No manners! No manners!" they cried, but an air of panic ran through them as they realized how rebellious they had been, how the wolf would punish them. They ran helter-skelter into the middle of the paddock, and wheeled as one to look back, ears pricked, eyes wide with fear. They puffed and blew, and Ma hacking cough rang out. But to their surprise, they saw that the wolf had dropped by the gateway, and that after a moment the pig came trotting out to one side of them. Farmer Hoggett could not know what had caused the near revolt of the flock. He saw clearly that for some reason they had given Fly a hard time, and that she was angry. It was not like her to gallop sheep in that pell-mell fashion. "Steady," he said curtly, as she hurried the regard, and then "Down," and "Stay," and shut the gate. Shepherding suited Farmer Hoggett. There was no waste of words in it. In the corner of the home paddock nearest to the farm building was a smallish fenced yard, divided into a number of pens and runways. Here the sheep would be brought at shearing time, or to pick out fat lambs for market, or to be treated for various troubles. Farmer Hoggett had heard the old ewe cough. He thought he would catch her up and give her another drench. He turned to give an order to Fly, lying flat and still behind him, and there, lying flat and still beside her, was the pig. "Stay, Fly," said Hoggett, and just for some fun, "Come, pig." Immediately Babe ran forward and sat at Farmer's right, his front trotters placed neatly together, his big ears cocked for the next command. Strange thoughts began to stir in Farmer Hoggett's mind, and unconsciously he crossed his fingers. He took a deep breath, and holding it, "Away to me," he said softly. Without a moment's hesitation, Babe began a long outrun to the right. Quite what the farmer Hoggett expected to happen, he could never afterward clearly remember. What he had not expected was that the pig would run round to the rear of the flock and turn to face it at him, and lie down instantly without a word or further command spoken, just as a well-trained dog would have done. Admittedly, with his jerky little rocking horse canter, he took twice as long to get there as Fly would have, but still, there he was, in the right place, ready and waiting. Admittedly, the sheep had turned to face the pig and were making a great deal of noise, but then Farmer Hoggett did not know, and Fly would not listen to what they were saying. He called the dog to heel and began to walk with his long lolloping stride to the collection pen in the corner, out in the middle of the paddock. And there was a positive babble of talk. "Good morning," said Babe. "I do hope I find you all well and not too distressed by yesterday's experience. And immediately, it seems that every sheep had..." Oh, sorry, that's not him. "And immediately it seemed that every sheep had something to say." "Oh, bless his heart," they cried, "and dear little soul, and hello, Babe, and nice to see you again." And then there was a rasping cough and the sound of Ma's hoarse tones. "What's up then, young'un?" she croaked. "What be you doing here instead of that wolf?" Although Babe wanted literally to keep on the right side of the sheep, his loyalty to his foster mother made him say in a rather hurt voice, "She's not a wolf, she's a sheepdog." "All right then," said Ma, "sheepdog, if you must have it. What does want with then?" Babe looked at the army of long, sad faces. "I want to be a sheep pig," he said. "Ha!" bleated a big lamb standing next to Ma. "Be quiet," said Ma sharply, swinging her head and giving the lamb a thumping butt in the side. "That ain't nothing to laugh at." Raising her voice, she addressed the flock. "Listen to me, all you oos," she said, "and lambs too. This young chap was kind to me, like I told you, when I were poorly. And I told him if he was to ask me to go somewhere or do something politely, like he would, why, I'd only be too delighted. We ain't stupid, I told him. All we do want is to be treated right, and we's as bright as the next piece. We are! We are!" chorused the flock. "We are! We are! We are!" "Right then," said Ma. "What shall us do, Babe?" Babe looked across towards the farmer Hoggett, who had opened the gate of the collection pen and now stood leaning on his crook, Fly at his feet. The pen was in the left bottom corner of the paddock, and so Babe expected, at that moment got the command, "Come by, pig," to send them left, and so behind the sheep, and thus turn them down towards the corner. He cleared his throat. "If I might ask a great favour of you," he said hurriedly, could you all please be kind enough to walk down to the gate where the farmer is standing and to go through it? Take your time, please. There's absolutely no rush." A look of pure content passed over all the faces of the flock, and with one accord they turned and walked across the paddock, Babe a few paces in the rear. Steadily they walked, and steadily over to the corner, through the gate, into the pen, and then stood quietly waiting. No one broke ranks or tried to slip away. No one pushed or shoved. There was no noise or fuss. From the oldest to the youngest, they went in like lambs. Then, at last, a gentle murmur broke out as everyone in different ways quietly expressed their pleasure. Babe, said Fly to the pig. "That was quite beautifully done, dear. Thank you so much," said Babe to the sheep. "You did that so nicely." "Ta, ta," said the sheep. "Ta, ta. 'Tis a pleasure to work with such a little gentleman." And Ma added, "He'll make a wonderful sheep pig, Ewan, or my name ain't not Ma." As for Farmer Hoggett, he heard none of this, so wrapped up he was in his own thoughts. "He's as good a dog," he told himself excitedly, "as he's better than a dog, than any dog. I wonder. Good pig, he said. Then he uncrossed his fingers and closed the gate. Right.